What if I told you that everything you want, everything you've been dreaming of, is already within your reach? You can have it all, but only if you understand one thing. You are not waiting for opportunities. Opportunities are waiting for you to take control. Pause. By the end of this, your mindset will never be the same again. I promise you. This is the moment your life changes. The biggest lie we've been told is that the power to change our lives exists somewhere outside of ourselves. That if we just get that promotion, meet the right person, or reach that milestone, then we'll finally feel powerful. But here's the truth. Your power is already within you. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Oprah Winfrey. Now, I want you to think about where she is today, right? The billionaire media mogul, the woman who speaks to millions. But what many don't know is where she came from. Oprah was born into poverty, faced severe trauma, and was told time and time again that she wasn't good enough. She had every reason to believe that her future was predetermined by the struggles of her past. But here's what she did. She realized that the power to change her life wasn't tied to her circumstances. It was within her all along. What Oprah did was simple yet profound. She decided to take control of her own story. She wasn't waiting for someone to save her or for the world to hand her success. She realized that the moment she took responsibility for her life was the moment she unlocked her true potential. You see, most people are waiting for that magic moment when everything falls into place. But I'm here to tell you that moment is right now. You don't need more time, more resources, or even more skills. What you need is a shift in how you view yourself. The truth is, you have everything you need inside you to create the life you've always wanted. Think about it. The most successful people didn't start out with everything handed to them. They started with a belief that they were capable of changing their circumstances. Oprah didn't wait for the world to validate her. She stepped into her power and decided to rewrite her story. And so can you. But there's a catch. You need to stop looking outside yourself for the answer. The world will tell you that happiness is in the next job, the next achievement, the next person. But the reality is, happiness and success come from within. When you start looking inward, you will tap into a well of strength, resilience, and determination that no external factor can provide. This isn't just motivational fluff. It's backed by psychology. When you take ownership of your own life, you shift from being a passive participant to an active creator. The simple act of realizing that you are in control of your own destiny changes everything. It's like flipping a switch from being a passenger in your life to being the driver. You stop letting your circumstances dictate your future, and you start using your own internal compass to guide you. There's a psychological principle called locus of control. People with an internal locus of control believe that their actions dictate the outcomes in their lives, whereas those with an external locus of control feel like they're at the mercy of forces beyond their control. The moment you realize that your power is within you is the moment you take control of your life. So ask yourself this question: what if I could take full responsibility for my life right now? Imagine how different your reality would be. The excuses would fall away, the fear would subside, and you would step into a version of yourself that was capable of anything. That's the power you've been waiting for. It's been inside you all along. It's time to unlock it. You are not waiting for the world to give you permission. You are not waiting for a lucky break. You have the ability to change your life right now. The power is within you. You've always had it. You've heard it before, but let me say it again. Change is the only constant in life. The world around you is in a constant state of flux. You can resist it, fight it, or try to avoid it, but it will always come. And here's the truth. Those who embrace change are the ones who thrive. Let me share a powerful example from the world of technology. Think about companies like Blockbuster and Kodak. At their peak, they were giants in their respective industries. Blockbuster was the go-to for movie rentals, and Kodak was the name synonymous with photography. But here's the thing. They failed to embrace change. They thought their ways of doing things would last forever. And in the blink of an eye, they became obsolete. They were replaced by companies like Netflix and digital photography, companies that recognized that the only way to move forward was to evolve. Now, you might be thinking, that's the business world, it's different for me. But here's the reality, we all face the same challenge in our lives. When you refuse to change, you become stagnant. And stagnation isn't a neutral state, it's the breeding ground for regret, frustration, and missed opportunities. Growth only happens when you accept that change is inevitable and you make it your ally. I want you to think about a time in your life when you resisted change. Maybe you stayed in a job that no longer fulfilled you or held on to a relationship that was draining your energy. Deep down, you knew it was time to let go, but you were afraid of the unknown. You were afraid of what would happen if you took the leap. That fear, that hesitation, is what holds most people back. But let me tell you this, the biggest regrets in life aren't from the changes people made, they're from the changes they failed to make. Change isn't always easy. In fact, it can be downright uncomfortable, but it's in that discomfort that we grow. When you embrace change, you start to unlock new levels of strength and resilience that you never thought possible. You begin to see the challenges of life not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to learn and evolve. Change forces you to adapt, to stretch your limits, and to expand your thinking. And when you do that, you become a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Psychologically, change triggers something in us that is deeply ingrained, the fight or flight response. When faced with change, especially the unknown, our brains go into survival mode. We become hyper aware of potential risks and dangers. But here's the thing, your brain isn't designed to keep you comfortable. It's designed to keep you alive. And sometimes surviving means taking risks. It means stepping into the unknown and trusting that you have the tools to navigate it. Think about the most successful people in the world. They didn't get there by playing it safe. They got there by embracing change even when it was terrifying. They took the risks. They adapted. They evolved. That's how they became great. You want to be great? You have to embrace change too. The beauty of life is that you get to decide how you respond to change. You can resist it, or you can use it as fuel for your growth. You are in control of how you evolve. The world is moving forward with or without you, so why not choose to move with it? Right now, in this moment, ask yourself, where in my life am I resisting change? And what would happen if I stopped fighting it? What if I embraced the uncertainty, trusted that I have the strength to handle whatever comes next, and allowed myself to grow? That's where true power lies, in the willingness to change and adapt. So embrace it. Change is not your enemy. It's your gateway to a better life. Let go of the fear, step into the unknown, and know that on the other side of change is the version of you that you were always meant to become. In life, there are countless things you can't control. The weather, the economy, what other people think. But there's one thing you can always control, yourself, how you think, how you respond, how you act. And that, my friend, is where your power lies. Let me tell you a story about a man named Viktor Frankl. He was an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, and Holocaust survivor who spent years in concentration camps. He witnessed unimaginable horrors, yet he didn't let the circumstances control his spirit. He chose to focus on one thing, his own inner freedom. Frankl famously wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Despite the unspeakable suffering he endured, he controlled his response. His mindset became his greatest source of strength. Viktor Frankl chose how he would respond to life, and that decision ultimately helped him survive and find purpose during the darkest chapter of human history. You see, Frankl didn't have control over what happened to him, but he had control over how he responded to it. And that's a mindset that we all need to adopt. We often waste energy trying to control the uncontrollable. We fight traffic, we stress about the economy, we worry about the opinions of others. But the truth is, those things are out of our hands. The more we focus on what we can't control, the more we spiral into frustration and helplessness. Instead, imagine if you turned that energy inward. What if you focus on what you can control? What if, instead of worrying about what's happening around you, you channeled that energy into taking action on what's happening inside you? You have the ability to control your thoughts, your habits, and your actions. And in doing so, you take back the power that the outside world has tried to take from you. Consider the example of a professional athlete. They can't control the weather, the opponent, or even the referee's calls. But what they can control is their training, their focus, their attitude, and their response to adversity. It's no secret that the greatest athletes, whether it's Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, or LeBron James, are masters of controlling their mindset. They don't let external factors determine their success. They keep their focus on their performance, their mindset, and their ability to control the only thing they have power over, themselves. Psychologically speaking, when you focus on what you can control, you activate a sense of agency. Agency is the belief that you have the power to influence your circumstances through your actions. Without it, you're left feeling like a victim of life's events. But when you focus on your response, your actions, and your mindset, you move from being a passive participant to being an active creator of your reality. That's when life starts to open up because you realize you have the power to shape it. Think about a time when you felt overwhelmed. Maybe it was a tough deadline, a difficult relationship, or an unexpected setback. Did you feel like you were at the mercy of the situation? Now think about what would have happened if you'd focused on what you could control. Your actions, your attitude, your decisions. Chances are you would have handled this situation with more clarity and less stress. It's not the external circumstances that define your life, it's how you respond to them. So here's the lesson. Stop wasting time focusing on things you can't control. It's a trap. Instead, pour your energy into what you can change, your mindset, your decisions, your habits. When you do this, you stop feeling like life is happening to you, and you start realizing that you're the one in the driver's seat. And from there, there's no limit to what you can achieve. The world may throw challenges your way, but the way you respond, the way you control your thoughts and actions is what will determine your success. Focus on what you can control, and you'll take back your power and your life. We live in a world that constantly tells us to say yes. Yes to every opportunity. Yes to every favor. Yes to every request that comes our way. But here's the truth. Saying yes all the time is the fastest way to burn out and lose sight of what really matters. The power you need to take control of your life, to protect your time and your energy, is found in a single word: no. Let me tell you a story about Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Steve Jobs didn't become a visionary by saying yes to everything that came his way. In fact, he was notorious for saying no to things that seemed like good ideas, but didn't align with his vision. He famously said, the most important thing is to say no to the 1,000 things that are going to compete for your attention. Jobs understood that saying no wasn't about rejecting opportunities. It was about focusing on what truly mattered. And it was that focused mindset that allowed him to create some of the most revolutionary products in history. Think about your own life. How many times have you said yes to things because you didn't want to disappoint someone? How often do you take on tasks or projects out of a sense of obligation, not because they align with your purpose or your priorities? Every time you say yes out of guilt or fear of letting someone down, you're sacrificing your own needs, your time, and your energy. But when you learn to say no, you're putting yourself first, and that's where your real power lies. Psychologically, saying no is about setting boundaries, and boundaries are essential for mental and emotional well-being. Think about it. When you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're not just giving away your time, you're giving away your peace. And the more you allow that to happen, the more you become a prisoner to other people's demands. You have to ask yourself, what is the cost of saying yes to things that drain me? When you say yes to something that doesn't serve your goals, you're robbing yourself of time and energy that could be invested in something more meaningful. You're allowing someone else's priorities to dictate your life. And that's not how successful people operate. Successful people know their time is their most valuable asset, and they guard it fiercely. One powerful example of this is Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time. Warren has said that the key to his success is his ability to focus on the few things that matter most and say no to the rest. He doesn't get distracted by every opportunity that comes his way. He says no to distractions so that he can say yes to the things that will drive him forward. And it's that focus, that ability to say no to the trivial, that has allowed him to build an empire. The truth is, every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your greater purpose, you're saying no to your own dreams. You're saying no to your time, to your peace, and to your potential. Learning to embrace the power of no is not about being selfish or uncaring. It's about protecting what's most important: your time, your energy, and your vision. So here's your challenge. The next time you're faced with a request, a project, or an opportunity, ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? Does this bring me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, then have the courage to say it. Your no is a declaration of your boundaries, your focus, and your respect for your own time. And it's in that power, in the power of no, that you will find the freedom to live a life that's truly yours. Remember, you don't have to please everyone. You don't have to say yes to everything that comes your way. When you embrace the power of no, You create the space to say yes to the things that truly matter, the things that will lead you to the life you've always dreamed of. We all fear failure. It's ingrained in us from an early age to avoid mistakes, to play it safe, to aim for perfection. But what if I told you that failure is not only inevitable, but it is also the key to your success? Failure is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're pushing yourself, that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and expanding your limits. Failure is the greatest teacher you'll ever have. Think about Thomas Edison. Edison didn't just invent the light bulb overnight. In fact, he failed thousands of times before he finally found the right filament that made it work. The most incredible part of his story isn't the success, it's how he viewed failure. When asked about his many failed attempts, Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." To him, failure was simply a necessary step on the path to innovation. It wasn't a setback. It was an opportunity to learn. And it's not just inventors or entrepreneurs who learn from failure. Think about J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before her books became a global phenomenon, she faced rejection after rejection. Her manuscript was turned down by 12 publishers. That's failure, right? Most people would have given up, thrown the manuscript in a drawer and moved on to something else. But not Rowling. She understood something powerful. Failure isn't the end. It's a lesson, a stepping stone to something greater. When you fail, you are given an opportunity to reflect. What went wrong? Why didn't it work? What can I do differently next time? These are the questions that lead to growth. But here's the thing. Most people don't want to ask those questions. They want to avoid the pain of failure. They want to stay in their comfort zone. But the truth is, staying comfortable is the fastest way to stagnate. Growth only happens in the discomfort of failure. Psychologically speaking, when we fail, we experience a loss of confidence, a sense of doubt, and sometimes even shame. But if we can reframe that experience, we realize that failure doesn't define us. It teaches us, it molds us, it strengthens us. Failure doesn't mean we're not good enough. It means we're trying. It means we're testing our limits and discovering new possibilities. Think about the greatest athletes in the world, Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, Kobe Bryant. These individuals didn't reach the top by avoiding failure. They failed many times. They missed shots, they lost matches, but they used each failure to refine their game, to improve their skills, and to grow stronger. They failed, but they didn't quit. Here's the critical point. Failure is only truly a failure if you stop moving forward. If you quit, if you let failure define your worth, then yes, it has defeated you. But if you learn from it, if you rise from it with a new understanding and a renewed commitment, then failure has done its job. It's taught you what you needed to know to get closer to your goal. So the next time you face failure, and you will, don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. Understand that it's not a reflection of your abilities, it's a part of the process. Every failure brings you closer to success. Every misstep teaches you something valuable. Failure is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally in the pursuit of greatness. And remember this, failure doesn't just happen to you, it happens for you. It's shaping you, building your resilience, and preparing you for the breakthrough that's just around the corner. Keep going, keep learning, keep failing, because in doing so, you are becoming exactly who you need to be to succeed. Have you ever stopped to consider the people you spend the most time with, the people you share your energy with, your dreams, your struggles? What do they bring to your life? Are they lifting you up, challenging you, pushing you toward greatness, or are they holding you back, keeping you stuck in a place of comfort and mediocrity? The truth is, you are the average of your 5 closest people, and that reality is either empowering or limiting depending on who you choose to surround yourself with. Let me give you a real-world example. Think about the most successful people in any field, whether it's business, sports, or entertainment. Behind their success, you'll always find a group of people who have influenced them, a mentor, a friend, a partner, a colleague, or even a competitor. These are the people who shape their mindset, who challenge their limits, and who push them to be better every day. Success isn't a solo journey, it's a collective one, and those closest to you are either helping you ascend or holding you back. Let's take an example from the world of sports. LeBron James, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, LeBron, didn't get to the top by surrounding himself with people who didn't push him to be better. He surrounded himself with a close-knit group of friends and mentors who supported his dreams, but also held him accountable. He had coaches, teammates, and friends who challenged him every day, not just on the court, but in every aspect of his life. These people weren't just cheering him on, they were elevating him, keeping him focused, and keeping him aligned with his purpose. Psychologically, this principle of being the average of your 5 closest people is rooted in something called social influence theory. We are inherently social creatures, and our behavior is deeply influenced by those we interact with regularly. Our values, attitudes, and behaviors are often a reflection of the people we spend time with. You start to mirror their habits, their mindset, and even their energy. If you surround yourself with people who are positive, driven, and success-oriented, you will naturally start to adopt those same traits. But if you spend time with people who are negative, complacent, or disinterested in growth, you will find yourself slipping into those same patterns. Think about the times in your life when you've been surrounded by negativity. Maybe it was a group of friends who doubted your dreams or told you that you were aiming too high. Maybe it was a toxic work environment or a relationship that drained you. How did you feel in those moments? Stuck? Stagnant? That's because the people around you were influencing your mindset, your confidence, and your actions. Even if you didn't realize it, you are influenced by the people you keep closest. Now think about the people you currently spend your time with. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they encouraging you to strive for more or settling for the status quo? Take a hard look at your inner circle. Ask yourself, who am I allowing to influence my thoughts, my goals, and my energy? Are these people a reflection of the version of myself that I want to become? Here's the kicker. You have the power to change your circle. It's up to you to decide who deserves a seat at your table. If your current circle isn't serving your best interests, it's time to make some adjustments. The key to your success lies in surrounding yourself with people who elevate you, challenge you, and inspire you to be better every single day. This isn't about abandoning old friends, but about being strategic with your energy. Find people who will hold you to a higher standard, who will challenge you, and who will inspire you to reach your highest potential. So I ask you, who are the 5 closest people to you? Are they helping you become the person you want to be? If not, it's time to make a change. Start surrounding yourself with people who align with your vision for greatness and watch how quickly your life starts to transform. Because when you elevate your circle, you elevate yourself. And that's how you begin to unlock the limitless potential inside you. Most people go through life blaming others for their struggles. We blame the economy for our financial difficulties. We blame our parents for how we turned out. We blame the world for not giving us the opportunities we deserve. But here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Taking full responsibility for your life is the key to unlocking your potential. Imagine this. You're driving a car, and every time you hit a bump in the road, you blame the car. You blame the tires, you blame the road, you blame everything except the fact that you're the one behind the wheel. How far do you think you'll get? Now think about this. Your life is that car, and you are the driver. Every decision, every reaction, and every path you take is ultimately in your hands. If you're not where you want to be, it's because you're choosing the wrong directions. It's time to take control. Let me tell you a story about a man named Eric Thomas. Eric grew up in poverty, was homeless for a period of time, and had to overcome significant obstacles. But Eric didn't let his circumstances define him. He didn't blame the system. He didn't sit around waiting for someone to come and help him. Instead, he made a conscious decision that he would take responsibility for his life. He chose to rise above his situation, push through the adversity, and take full ownership of his actions. Eric transformed his life by realizing one simple thing. He was in control of his destiny, no matter what life threw at him. And once he took full responsibility for his life, everything changed. Psychologically speaking, taking full responsibility shifts your mindset from a place of powerlessness to one of power. It moves you from being a victim of circumstances to being a creator of your own reality. When you blame the world, you give away your power. You tell yourself that your life is determined by factors outside of your control and that you are at the mercy of life's randomness. But when you take responsibility, you step into your power. You acknowledge that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you control how you respond to it. The key here is not to be mistaken. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that everything that happens to you is your fault. Life will throw curveballs. People will disappoint you. Bad things will happen. But how you react to those events, how you learn from them, and how you move forward is entirely up to you. Let's take a look at someone who truly exemplified this, Nelson Mandela. He was wrongfully imprisoned for 27 years, but instead of harboring bitterness or blaming the system, he took full responsibility for his mindset and his actions. During his imprisonment, he worked on himself, mentally and emotionally. When he was released, instead of seeking vengeance, he chose to work towards peace, reconciliation, and justice. Mandela took responsibility for the future of his country and his people, and that's how he became the icon of leadership and strength we remember today. But you don't have to be a historical figure to experience this power. Every single day you have the opportunity to take responsibility for your life. Whether it's your finances, your relationships, your health, or your career, the moment you take full responsibility for your life, you unlock the power to change everything. When you make the decision to own your life, you stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect person to come along and give you permission to succeed. You stop making excuses, you stop blaming and complaining, and instead you take action. You find a way, you create your own opportunities. Remember, the world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe it to yourself to take control, to take responsibility, and to create the life you want. The power is always in your hands. The moment you realize that you are the author of your own story is the moment your life will change. Take full responsibility and you'll watch your world transform.